Hi, my name is Mackenzie Cox, and my essential question for this final project is why has the topic of race and just racial discrimination in general, why has that had such an impact on not just the films we've watched in class, but in society in general? So I'm going to be talking about examples in the real world today that I've either experienced or read about, and I'm also going to be touching upon how that kind of comes back to the movies we watched and what we talked about in lecture. So, like I explained, how white saviorism and racism are kind of correlated in that sense. I actually have a personal story that I'd like to share. So, my junior year of high school, I was assigned to write a 7-page paper on an injustice that I thought was really important, and I actually chose 2 articles. So, one was a white Harvard student. He was an athlete who raped a girl and got put into prison for 6 months, I believe, and then he was off and on probation. And then there was a second story with a black football player who did the same exact thing and was put in jail for 10 years. So that was very important to me because it really showed how the media puts aside sort of their morals, I guess, and they really focus on, oh, he's black, he must have done a worse crime, or he's white, he didn't mean to do it. So I really thought that was important to mention just because it kind of correlates with the whole white saviorism, racism idea that I want to emphasize. So those were the main points in the movies that I wanted to talk about that I thought stood out to me regarding the topics, but I wanted to kind of address the answer to my question at the beginning of my podcast. I truly believe that there's no answer as to why the media depicts white saviorism and racism in such a negative light. I think that's just how society has molded itself to be. So there really is no answer to that question, but I hope as a society we can evolve and realize that we're all just people, and it shouldn't be, oh, he's black and he's white. I think we should all be a unit and work together. So I'm actually going to bring it back to white saviorism and the idea of a white person feeling the need to help a less privileged person from their oppression. I think that's really important when we talk about race here because it kind of puts the white people on a pedestal that they really don't need to be on. So I'm going to be touching upon that and how it's really prevalent, especially in Walkout, Freedom Writers, Dangerous Minds. I think those 3 movies really kind of cultivate the whole white saviorism idea and racial discrimination that I'm going to be talking about. Now, in Dangerous Minds, there was a middle-class white teacher who kind of threw herself into this poor inner-city school, and there were a lot of Latino and African-American students that really didn't have the experience of someone who cared about their learning as much as this teacher did. So I think it really placed a single story, as we talked about, onto this teacher because she didn't fit into the learning environment that they were brought up into. Overall, I think white saviorism is really important because it kind of highlights how society has ingrained what white people are supposed to do, and that the underprivileged people can't fight for themselves and what they believe in. We think that someone else has to do it for them, which I think is really unfair. Now, the last movie, Walkout, that we were assigned to watch really kind of depicts what I believe we should have expectations for in a society. There was a Mexican-American teacher who staged the protest. There was no true white savior, and they still got their point across the same exact way as if a white person did it for them. I think this is really important because it shows that we don't need a white savior in order to get what we need done.